Hi, Kevin here. Today we're going to cook, crumble, and freeze ground beef. Now you could do the same thing for ground turkey or ground chicken. And the reason we're going through this trouble is because when you have already cooked and crumbled ground meat in the freezer, all kinds of dishes are really easy to do. I'm talking about chili, cheeseburger casserole, hamburger pot pie, bolognese sauce. Well, there's got to be a million other dishes that use already cooked ground beef. Anyway, here's the beef that I'm doing today. And Mr. Fox picked this up from the local supermarket. So I have, let me put on my glasses so I can read this. So what I have here is a 2.325 pound package of 81% lean ground beef. Over here, this is also 81% lean. This is 2.6, did I say ounces? I mean pounds. This is a big one. This is, let's see, 80% lean, 20% fat, 3.3 pounds. Okay, so that's a lot of ground beef. So let's move over to the stove and I will show you how to do the whole thing. Alright, so I'm going to be doing one package of beef at a time, and I'm going to use my 12-inch stainless steel skillet. Now I'm not adding any oil to the skillet because there's already some fat in the beef. And my pan is over medium-low heat, and I think it's hot enough to add the beef. Yep, you can hear the sizzle. So then, just do what you would normally do. Break up the beef. And you don't have to break it up too thoroughly yet because we're going to be crumbling it later on. Also, do not add any seasoning to the meat because right now we don't know how we're going to use the meat. And depending on the recipe, we might want to season the beef, we may not want to use salt, we may not want to use pepper, we may want to use something else. So you just want this to be plain. Okay, I'm going to let this brown on both sides, and then I'll show you how I drain off the fat. All right, hamburger is thoroughly cooked, and that didn't even take 5 minutes. So here comes the tricky part, especially if you're filming a video. We have to drain off the fat. So cut off the heat, and then see if I can position you so you can see what I'm doing. Let's see. So I have a bowl down here. Well, you'll just have to trust that I have a bowl over here. Yeah, you really don't want to pour the fat down the drain. Let me grab a hot pad here. And then I'm just going to set the lid slightly ajar. You know what? I'll move the bowl over here. And I'm going to grab another hot pad. Matching blue. Here we go. Yeah, this was the 80% lean, which meant 20% fat. So look at all of the fat that's coming out. Okay, we're good. Now, hang on, I'm going to make a lot of noise. I'm going to move you over to the workstation. All right, so I have my baking sheet here. And just pour the cooked meat onto the baking sheet and then spread it out. And we're going to let this cool completely. We're not going to flash freeze it. I've tried that, and what happens is that you end up with a lot of clumps that stick together. So the trick is to just let it cool in a single layer on a cookie sheet or baking sheet. Okay, and now I'm going to cook up the remaining ground beef, and then I'll come back. Okay, here's the second batch. This was the 81% lean ground beef. And I did line my baking sheet with aluminum foil simply so you would not see how hideously stained it is. And again, just spread it out so that it will cool quickly. Okay, and then I have one more package to do, and then we'll come back and I'll show you I'll show you what to do with the fat and then how to bag up the beef. Okay, all of the beef is cooked, and I wanted to show you all of the fat that came out of the beef. Quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is let the fat cool to room temperature so that it solidifies, and then I can knock it into the trash. And I've already labeled several Ziploc bags, ground beef, and I put the fat content. This one is French. Okay, let me show you what you can do to achieve the texture you want. Now, this is already fairly finely crumbled, but if you want it more crumbled, just use your fingers or a spatula and break it up some more. This one I might leave kind of chunky, or maybe not, we'll see. Okay, let's bag this up. Now before you bag up the beef, make sure that it is definitely at room temperature. Otherwise, all of the crumbles will stick to each other as they freeze. Okay, and I'm going to finish bagging this, and then I'll come back. All right, all of my bags are labeled and filled. So there's one last thing we have to do. First, let me show you. Notice how this bag looks shrink wrapped. Well, that's not because I have a shrink wrapping machine, nor do I own a proper vacuum sealer, although I do have one on my Christmas list. So let me show you how I shrink wrap in order to avoid getting freezer burn on my ground beef. So what I do is take a straw. This is a paper straw. You can use whatever straw you happen to have around. And then I seal the bag all the way up to the inserted straw. And then, as you probably guessed by now, I suck all of the air out. Voila, shrink wrapped. I know that little technique isn't for everyone, but it will mitigate the chance of freezer burn on the beef. Well, I hope this time-saving tutorial was helpful to you in some small way. Believe me, when Friday taco night rolls around, you will be so happy to have already cooked and crumbled ground beef in your freezer. Okay, and finally, I'd just like to say, if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel yet, I hope you'll do so today. And be sure to tap the little bell icon to receive notifications. And please post a comment below. I do read all of your comments, And believe me, I really love hearing from you. Okay, thanks so much for watching. That's all for now. Bye-bye.